One of the topics we'll work on is demography, information about the people of the state, where they live, under what conditions they're living, the age distribution as it varies from place to place and maybe time to time across the state. We'll also look at the cultural streams into the state at different times in its history and at the degree of assimilation or acculturation into the state. Another topic we'll investigate is nature-society relations. This is very relevant to Iowa as it was transformed from prairie to agricultural land more rapidly than any place on Earth. We'll look at native and exotic species of plants and animals and at their relationship to each other as well as to people. We'll consider theories of the environment such as conservation, preservation, restoration, and exploitation or dominion. Conservation means taking care of the land while using it for human purposes, in contrast to preservation, which means keeping people off an area in order not to disturb the natural state. Restoration means bringing back what was natural after it has been used for other purposes. Exploitation/dominion means that human needs have priority over nature to the extent that it can be used for whatever purposes humans wish, regardless of consequences to the natural balance. Cultural streams and practices within the state is an important topic to consider. Two main pillars of culture are language and religion, so we'll look at what languages and religions people brought with them, as well as at the current languages and religions practiced in the state. The way men and women relate to each other and the way the state relates to men and women will also be a focus of the course. Marriage laws are an important part of this, but so is the funding of sports and the role men and women play in politics. It is an important factor in architecture as well, as homes are built to support certain gender roles, such as women in the kitchen or in the great room, for instance, or men in the parlor or the den or in the office or the great room. Media certainly is a great product and conveyor of cultural themes. We'll look at newspapers, websites, movies, YouTube clips, and more. Education and social services is a huge part of the state. We'll consider school consolidation, higher education, the mental health system or lack of one, and the distribution of physicians of different kinds across the state. We'll also consider places' names, particularly counties, but also towns and cities, as they convey the culture of the times in which they were named. We're going to spend some time with the names of Iowa places, particularly counties, but also towns and cities. For instance, consider the town of Onslow on Highway 136 north of Wyoming. In Diltz's book, the information is that it was claimed to be named after a governor of Maine, but he found there was no governor of Maine named Onslow. The fact is, it was named after the governor of New Hampshire in 1870, who had been a significant leader in developing railroads in New England. This says something about the New England heritage of settlers there and about the importance of railroads to the development of Iowa. In contacting one of the leaders of the Jones County Historical Society, I learned that Jones County was going to celebrate Heritage Days at the end of August, focusing on the importance of railroads in the county and the state. This is just one example, but as we'll learn later in the course, the naming of counties in Iowa sheds a great deal of light on the important events and persons of the early part of the 19th century, American and even European history, as many immigrants brought with them a keen sense of what was happening there. Place is a concept with many uses beyond memory and hope. Place has a commercial use, as business people seek to create places that will attract people. Malls are prime examples of this, but also amusement parks, downtown shopping areas, cultural neighborhoods such as New Bow and Cedar Rapids, or Chinatowns in many cities across the country. Another way in which place is important is landscape reading. A landscape is a kind of mural on which we can sit back and absorb, thinking about the function of each part, the background of it all, or possibly aesthetics of it, the interplay of color and motion. Historical sites may seek to promote tourism by preserving buildings, such as in the Amana colonies where a strict building and building usage code governs the community.